Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of my YouTube channel. Today I have brought you all along with me to Starved Rock State Park out here in Ottawa, Illinois. I'm doing some winter photography. The weather lately has not been good at all for astrophotography, so fingers crossed that next new moon I've got some clear skies, but until then I wanted to come out today and do some winter photography and kind of walk you guys through my process and just bring you along for the adventure. Now, some of you, I'm sure, are probably looking at this giant icicle behind me here and you're like, what is this? Where is he? So where I'm at is actually called Ottawa Canyon. It's in Starved Rock State Park, and it's one of the most beautiful canyons in this park. Something that's really cool about this time of year is that there's actually ice climbers that come in here and they climb up high onto these ridges, and then they climb down this ice, and you can actually see the rope is dangling down this this waterfall right now, and there's some climbers up there that are getting ready to come down. So I'm going to go ahead and get a few shots of the waterfall before everybody starts coming up and down the waterfall. I don't want to hold them up for anything here, so let's go ahead, let's jump back there, and I'll show you guys the shot that I'm trying to get. And you know, I've been actually after this shot all year long. I have a similar image in every season, and I only need winter and spring. So after today, I'll only need spring, and I'll have a shot of this location in every season. So let's go ahead, let's get back there and check this out. Today, the gear that I've chosen to bring with me is my Nikon Z7 II, my Nikon 14-24 2.8. This is the S version lens, the Z mount. It's a really great lens. I have had nothing but a joy using this lens. I just picked it up when I actually bought the Z7 II back this past summer, and this setup has done very well for me, and I'm very excited to be back here and wrapping up this winter scene that I need to complete the almost full set of images to capturing this little area of Starved Rock State Park. So what I've done is I've positioned myself in the same place roughly that I've been in the past. And what I'm trying to do is create a transition sequence that goes between all seasons of this particular spot. It's a really neat place. It's got this big cove that comes overhead and looks out, and you can see the trees. There's a huge frozen waterfall here, but in the summer it's just a flowing waterfall. It's still flowing right now, but just not nearly as much as it would be in the spring or summer months. It's definitely flowing fairly well though, all things considered, and especially considering the fact that, I mean, it's giant and it's frozen, so that's pretty cool. But what I've done here is I've gone ahead and I've set up my camera. Now, a few things I want to go over with you guys before we get too far ahead of ourselves here is there's a couple specific camera settings that I'm using here to help me get this shot. The first is back button focus, and this is something that you will hear me talk a lot about in all of my videos. I always use back button focus for two primary reasons. The first is that I'm generally going to be bracketing or taking a series of images that I plan to either blend together later, or if I'm going to be doing that bracketing, or if I'm going to, you know, be trying to capture different parts of an image, like, you know, exposing for a dark foreground while trying to not overexpose a brighter background, I'm gonna wanna make sure that my focus doesn't change, and that's what back button focus allows me to do. Instead of the focus being tied to the shutter release, now I push my button back here and I can lock my focus at any point on the viewfinder here, or on the rear screen rather, and wherever I place my focus, the camera will stay focused in that specific point until I change the actual place where I'm choosing to focus. So one more setting that I think is very helpful, especially in winter, is when you're going to be out and you're going to be shooting, you're going to want to have on what I call blinkies, and that's the little blinking lights that come up on the playback of your photo. And the reason I say that, you know, you want to turn that on is that it's very easy in the winter to blow out highlights, especially looking up at this scene right now. There's all kinds of different shades of white and gray in these icicles that are gonna be pretty hard to capture. So, you know, what I really wanna do here is maximize that dynamic range and make sure that I'm not clipping. So what I'm doing here is starting my sequence. I'm gonna expose normally. I'm gonna take one shot. I'm gonna take one additional shot that's underexposed and then another shot that's overexposed, and then blend those together in post if I need to recover that highlight detail. Another really good thing to do here is to use your histogram. Don't rely on the rear LCD of the screen because it's not always gonna be the most accurate. So you're going to want to go ahead and you know, take your shots, but pay attention to your histogram, use your blinkies, use back button focus, and make sure that you're getting the very best data while you're out in the field and the very best information available to you, because once you get back home, there's no change in what you've got. Let's go ahead and start taking some photos and we'll go over them here in a moment. So I've got my first set of photos here. I checked over everything. I looked at the histogram. I looked over everything as far as I can tell. Everything is good. I checked my focus. I don't see any of the little blinkies anywhere. It doesn't look like I have to focus stack this because I'm using f8. So at that aperture, I really have good depth of field through my scene here. But one thing that you're always going to want to do is move around a little bit when you're at a scene and just kind of explore a little. Make sure that you know, you've looked under every stone and checked every corner, because sometimes there's a really cool composition hiding right in front of you that you may not be aware of. So in this case, I have the shot that is going to match up with the others, but there's this huge, beautiful ice formation here, and I want to try to get at least a couple shots of it. And the ice climbers that are here, I can hear them above me, so I think they're going to start coming down shortly. I really hope they are, because I'd like to get some photos of that for them and be able to watch it. It's a very cool thing. If you've never seen ice climbing, definitely check out Starved Rock in the winter. It's one of the most beautiful parks in the state. It's fantastic. It's beautiful here. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the area, it's worth checking out, especially with the ice climbers here. Disclaimer though, if you're not an ice climber or you're not experienced, then make sure you go and, you know, talk to an actual ice climber before you come out here and try to do it, because it's dangerous, and those guys are professionals, so don't try this at home, kids. So while I was moving around, I actually found one more pretty neat composition. I'm a lot closer to this ice right here, and it actually really fills up the frame on the left side of this image very well. I'm trying to make this composition work a little bit better, just because in filling up that left side of the frame, I'm also losing a lot of that overhang. So I'm trying to just get some interesting shots where you know, I can include this ice formation, but also include some more of the landscape and just kind of check it out. Because I've always stood about 20, 30 feet to my left where I've been standing for the first half of our pictures, and just, you know, exploring a little bit, because like I said, moving around, especially at different times of the season, it can yield some really great results. It can open doors and show you new compositions that just aren't otherwise there in other seasons. Case in point, I now have a giant, huge ice mountain thing. Ice shelf? No, that's not the right word. Ice. We'll call it like a very big icicle. That's what we'll call it. So guys, I moved around a little bit. Can't really find any more compositions here. Like I said, I found one right here to my left, and then the original one that's back over this way to my right. You know, it's been a really fun experience down here so far. There's one other canyon in this side of the park that I want to go check out quick. See if I can get any compositions over there. I hear that the ice climbers are right above me now, so they're probably getting ready to come down, and I don't want to hold them up for safety concerns being underneath of them or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get my stuff packed up and moved. Check out this giant piece of ice though. This huge icicle, the giant icicle. This thing is massive. This is just beautiful. Really something that everybody should come out here and experience. Everyone should come out here and see. This is just one of those things that you really have to see to believe. This thing is, it's taller than a house. I mean, it goes and goes and goes. It's incredible. As I was walking along, coming from Ottawa Canyon back that way and heading over to Kaskaskia, which is actually right around this bend right here, I noticed that there's this really, really thin snow over the fall leaves back here, and I just I couldn't help but stop. It is beautiful. It's just this fresh snowpack over everything around me right now. It really, really has this very just interesting look to it. So I stopped to take a few shots, and I took my my tripod off. Sometimes a tripod can be way more of an anchor than it is anything else. So when you're out shooting winter scenes, when you're out shooting any scenes, sometimes just ditch the tripod, handhold, just make sure that you have your settings right so that you're not getting any camera shake or anything like that. I'm gonna walk around here and get a few shots. I'm really excited about this. It's just so beautiful. This thin snow. It's like somebody came through here with like a fine powder and just sprinkled it across the ground. I love this time of year. All right, everyone. Well, I think that's a wrap for today. I've had a really great time out here shooting today. I had a great time in Ottawa. I'm really happy with the way the photos turned out over there with the giant ice sheet. Kaskaskia is looking awesome as well today. Very happy with the trip, the hike, the overall experience. Again, this is Starved Rock State Park. It's in Illinois. If you haven't been here, I strongly suggest coming out and taking a hike and checking it all out. Any time of year, you really can't go wrong. The park is just beautiful year-round. I'm going to be bringing you guys here a lot in future videos. And this is fairly close to where I live, and it's one of my favorite places to come visit at any time of year. So we'll be venturing here a lot. If you haven't yet, go ahead and check out my podcast. It's called the Crafting Light Podcast. This year I'm focusing a lot on astrophotography. So anyone who's interested in astrophotography or just getting out there and checking out some night sky images, definitely go over there, check out the podcast. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. The videos, the podcast help me grow. I always appreciate it. Can't tell you guys enough how much I appreciate it. But as always, I will see you guys on the next video. See you guys at the next podcast, which comes out every week on Wednesday. And until then, my friends, may the light be with you. Take care, everybody.